Namaste. Welcome to the beginning of another live Saṅgha. I'm grateful to be here. I trust that you are feeling as well as you can in this moment. If there's any difficulties in your life at this time, remember that this too shall pass. And if I can hold space for what you're going through, I'd be honored to. I hope to be your humble host today, and if I'm not, you can hold me accountable to that. Whatever you are feeling right now is a perfectly valid expression of the life you are living. Welcome, dear Carrot. Thank you for your likes. Welcome, dear Exo Style. I'd like to start by setting the intentions for the space as being a welcoming environment, open to everyone, regardless of background, identity, orientation, belief system, ethnicity, etc. Welcome, dear Oren. Thank you for your likes and heart me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you, Bo. Hello, dear Riri. Thank you for your likes, dear Kaichi. Thank you too, dear Emma and Bo. Hello, dear Kimmy. Hello, Kali. Another early live indeed. And thank you, Kali, for your heart me. Harihi Om Tat Sat. I'd love to know how you're feeling, if you want to share. No one has ever expected. I love my silent viewers too. Hello, dear Moonshine. That is Michelle. Thank you for sharing the live, Carrot. You're having a difficult day, Blair. That's allowed. I'm grateful to be here. Hello, dear Jack. Hello, Enzo. Aw. I'm grateful for your presence here, dear Enzo. But you are always welcome to come and go as you please. Oh my goodness. You don't have to be that excited for me, dear Muse. But welcome. Namaskara, dear Regnehildor. Hello, Astrid. Hello, someone with a picture of the Andromeda Galaxy. Moon. Hello, Moon. How did I know that you need help today? Asked Blair. Well, because I know that there is something within me ready to give. And that's how I know that it's needed in the world. Hello, dear Starflower. Thank you for your likes, dear Astrid and Blair. And thank you for sharing the live, Oren. Do I have any message for you, dear Starflower? I think you've been working a lot on yourself recently, and it's been paying off. So, well done. Are you proud of yourself? Whoa, no, I have not heard of that, dear Petro Jelly. Although I think someone was mentioning that in the last live. Very interesting. Hello, dear Neon Jello Pack. Hello, dear Dob Darker. Muse, you share I look different. Did I shave? I did shave a couple of days ago. Yeah, a few days ago now. Sounds like you carry a lot of your feelings physically, dear Blair. Which is good. You should feel your feelings with your body. Unify your mind and body. which means take care of your body. Oh, I think they're very awe-inspiring, and they have such a presence to them. Dear Petrojali. Thank you, dear Dob Darker, for the heart me that you sent. Om Dom Durgaya Namah. I'm doing well this evening. Thank you for asking, Neon Jello Pack. Today I woke up earlier than I have in a very long time. I'm used to waking up in the afternoon, sometimes even up into the evening. And I woke up at 6:45 a.m. today, which is not something I'm used to. I had a nice walk in the rain, the gardens, did some sun salutations outside, even though it was raining. And I was learning a little bit about all the different kinds of Shilajita, a mineral extract that comes from the rocks of the Himalayas. But thank you, Neon Jello Pack, for asking, and for your heart me, your level up sparks, and a quartet of team bracelets. Om Tham Namastandaraya. Hello, dear Eric. I hope to see you. I think I will be here in an hour, dear Muse. Orin, you're currently learning to feel your feelings. A lesson that even anger is sometimes a needed feeling. That's a very powerful lesson, Orin. I'm happy you shared that. And thank you, dear Jared, for the heart me that you send. Om Kring Kali Kayin. Alright, I will try to remember, dear Petro Jelly. No promises, I might forget. Unless you send me the video. I can't accept messages on TikTok, but on my other platforms, you can send me messages. Thank you for your big hug. Oh my goodness, you definitely don't need to spend a single cent on me, dear Blair. Obviously, your well-being is a priority. Yeah. And if I can help you, please reach out too. I'm not exactly well endowed either, but if I can help you, just make it through 1 week, maybe, that'd be something that I can do. And hello, dear Elsat. Ah, how lovely, dear Carrot. I love the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, that's right, Shri Hasya Chitrakara. I wore my galaxy suit today, as you can see. So for today's Saṅgha, we have no show and tell. No one submitted a show and tell for today. But if you wanted to do that, you can check out the link tree in the bio. I'm also saving up enough memes for the next community meme section. So if you have any meme ideas for this community, you can check out that submission form also in the link tree. So for Shravana, the listening portion, we shall start the 7th chapter of the journey home. And then after that, I think we'll finish the whole chapter. It's short enough to do it in one reading for today. We will do Manana, dedicated to Q&A, and will be a question of the day about finding balance in general. And then we'll have an intermission of some poetry reading by the Sufi mystic Rumi. And we'll end with a bija mantra for the earth goddess, Bhumi. How does that sound? Hello, dear Tino. Hello, dear Serenity. Meditation is very helpful, dear Blair. Yeah. You've had a long day indeed, dear Blair. You like to listen? Well, I'm happy to have you here, dear Strung by Stacy. Well, thank you, dear Jen. I'm very grateful for having very loving parents. How did I begin my journey? Probably having very loving parents. That helped a lot. But I know that it's not necessary, because there have been some very great spiritual beings that have come from very difficult upbringings too. You can use that too. All experiences add together to create something beautiful on the spiritual path. All right, everyone's down. Or up. Are you down for it or are you up for it? I'm dup for it. I'm own. I don't know. Let's continue where we left off in the 7th chapter. Starting the 7th chapter of the 4th act of the journey home. May this reading relax your mind and awaken your heart. May your mental anxieties go down, and may your heart's love go up. Vrindavan was full of miracles for me, both great and small. One afternoon, while meandering alone along a forest pathway, I found myself face to face with a charging bull. A cloud of dust billowed around his huge body, and he was fuming white foam. He stared at me, in rage, opened his mouth wide, and let loose a chilling roar. Wildly pounding the earth, his hooves prepared to trample me. Before I could even react, he halted, cocked his head down, and then threw it upward in a swooping motion, jabbing his horn into my belly. I gasped. I was hurled upward and flew headlong over the bull's body, then crashed to the ground. As I lay there, he impatiently scraped the earth with his hooves, snorting through his nostrils, and prepared to attack again. Writhing in pain, I thought I was a dead man. Just then, a thin, neatly dressed elderly man wearing a Nehru hat appeared on the path. He shouted some words in the local language, which induced the bull to lower its head. To my relief, the animal strode quietly away. Extending his hand, the strange man lifted me up. "Are you all right?" he asked. "That bull was too much angry." Relieved, I took inventory of my physical condition. To my amazement, there were no injuries and my pain had vanished. As I took my first step, I cried out. A thorn had pricked deeply into my foot, causing me more discomfort than the horn of the bull. I reached down to extract the thorn, reflecting that perhaps this was Krishna's kindness, a token thorn to replace the bull's thorn. "I'm fine," I replied. "Thank you for saving my life." "I did not save you, Baba," the gentleman smiled. "Krishna saved you. I was only his instrument." His voice wavered with emotion. All Krishna wants in return from us is our love. He turned me around, examining me for wounds and sweeping the dirt from my clothes. "Where do you come from, and why are you here?" he asked. I explained my situation, and the old man, noting the position of the sun, announced, I am late for a meeting. You may join me if you wish." Together, we passed along the sandy pathways of the forest. He removed his hat from his neatly combed white hair and said, "I'm taking you to the home of a rare saint and scholar. He is unknown to the public, but the spiritually elevated souls of this area revere him. I believe in English you would call him a saint among saints." We came upon a flat rock that served as a bridge for crossing over an open sewage canal. Thick black sewage bubbled and gurgled in this 3-foot wide moat. Choking from the stench, I carefully crossed over it. Just then, a family of hogs dove into the moat and reveled about, slurping and gulping down the putrefied black nectar. Faces dripping with fecal matter, they snorted in joy. Ew. Minutes later, we were surrounded by a natural haven of greenery, aromatic flowers, buzzing bees, and trilling birds. After some distance, we spilled out into a courtyard with a small kutir, a hut for worship. "Please, come," my guide said, pressing my hand into his. Inside, sitting on a wooden plank, was a sadhu. Both his head and face were clean-shaven in what I now understood as an expression of detachment from selfish pursuits. A small tuft of hair remained at the back of his head to represent servitude to God. I was to learn that he was over 80 years old. With a soft smile, he placed his joined palms to his forehead and bowed his head. "We welcome you into our family." This was Vishaka Sharan Baba. An assembly of 5 elderly sages sat at his feet, eager to hear his every word. Vishaka Sharan Baba gazed toward me and spoke English. He gazed toward me and spoke. My guide, who everyone called Panditji, translated his Hindi into English. "If one begs for God's love like a starving man for food, the Lord will bestow that rarest treasure." He took my hand. "Please let me feed you." The satisfaction of his company drew me down that sandy pathway every afternoon at about 4 o'clock. Upon my arrival, Vishaka Sharan Baba, with his own hands, would offer me a straw mat to sit on and some flat homemade bread, or rotis with gur, a sugarcane extract. This was the fare of the poorest people in Vrindavan. His followers exalted him and were eager to arrange for his meals, but he refused. Whatever he received, usually coarse rotis and gur, was his joy to share with me. Although over 4 times my age, a saint among saints, and recognized scholar, he treated me with a compassion that left me speechless. Vishaka Sharan Baba had first come to Vrindavan as a sadhu in 1918, and he remained for the rest of his life. Little is known of his past, as he rarely discussed it. In the Himalayas, I had lived among holy men who practiced severe indifference to the world, and I witnessed varieties of supernatural powers. Vishaka Sharan Baba neither displayed such miracles nor tortured his body. He was just absorbed in loving service. When he spoke of Sri Radha's love and Lord Krishna's pastimes, he was like an innocent child, unaware that he had the authority of a spiritual king. In his shyness, he hid his ecstasies and served in an ordinary way. His presence drew an affection from my heart that I could not fully understand. On one occasion, I asked Vishaka Sharan Baba, "Please tell me whatever you feel I need to hear." Sitting on his wooden plank, he closed his eyes and, entering a trance, a stream of words so relevant to my concerns questions and longing to embrace Krishna flowed from his mouth, and I listened while Pandit Ji closed his eyes and translated for me. Lord Krishna's body is purely spiritual. His form is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. The Vedic scriptures and the visions of millennia of saints all concur in describing his form in the spiritual world. Although his beauty is indescribable to the material senses, the scriptures give as close a description as is humanly comprehensible. He is the reservoir of all beauty. His complexion is bluish, like a newly formed monsoon cloud, with the exception of his palms and soles that are like pink lotuses. His eyes, which see everywhere, are the shape of fully blossomed lotus petals. His nose is soft like the sesame flower, his lips reddish like the bimba fruit, and his teeth like rows of pearls. His cheeks and forehead possess the beauty of full moons. His ears, which hear everything, are decorated with bejeweled earrings shaped like sharks. His hair, like radiant black silk, cascades luxuriously around his moonlit face and is ornamented by a string of tiny flowers, jewels, and a peacock feather. His neck gently swirls like the conch shell, and his every limb is softer than fresh butter. Yet he may act with the power of a thunderbolt. He is unlimited and supremely independent. Through his energies, all material and spiritual worlds are pervaded, and he expands to personally reside within the heart of every living being as our constant friend and witness. He oversees the material creation, sometimes as a strict father, but in the highest realm of the spiritual world, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. He shares his bliss with everyone through his playful pastimes, humorous words, and mischievous pranks. When he poses with 3 graceful bends and plays his flute, he mesmerizes our hearts with his all-enchanting love. In a state of bliss, Vishaka Sharan Baba went on as I listened, fascinated. And Shri Radha, the Lord's feminine counterpart, has the complexion like molten gold. She is the supremely compassionate mother of all beings, and her beautiful attributes enchant even the mind of Krishna. But I feel unqualified to even begin to describe them. Her love is the all-pervading reality that charges the spiritual world with endless bliss. His enchanting description then shifted into an erudite analysis of these most personal forms of God. A perfect salve, that's a new word for me, a perfect salve for my analytical Western mind. S-A-L-V-E. One might think that such a description of God is anthropomorphic or trying to impose human-like qualities upon God. But to the contrary, it is humans who, in minute degree, have been blessed with qualities that originate in the Lord. As it is written in the Holy Bible, man is made in the image of God. His conception of the one God was so highly personal, not just in an allegoric or symbolic way, but as a spiritual truth far beyond our sensual or intellectual purview. The only way to access God, for him, was through sincere devotion. I found myself gradually gaining a deeper appreciation of these people's reasons for chanting God's names, serving others with such humility, and praying to the deity. One afternoon, I found Vishaka Sharan Baba and the sages gathered around an old wooden radio with an arched top, metal knobs, and a protruding antenna. It was probably made in the 1930s. As the crackling of static boomed out, my friend who had saved me from the bull translated the news for me. India and Pakistan are at war. His face clouded with grief. The cruel war is raging. Bombs are dropping, and thousands of troops are battling. No place is safe. The government has declared a blackout, cutting electricity to prevent us from night bombings. His attention was drawn again to the crackling voice of the news. America is warning all American citizens to leave India at once. I now felt more like an Indian sadhu than an American, so it hardly registered that this might apply to me. Still, news of the war would certainly intensify the worry of my parents. To reassure them of my safety, I composed a letter on December 7th, 1971, my 21st birthday. My family, the wars on earth are but a manifestation of the battle within man's mind. We enter into the battle zone the moment we forget the Lord. Today there is war in Vietnam, in Israel, and now between India and Pakistan. As long as we are prisoners of our mind's passions, we are in each of these battlefields. But be assured that I am safe. Be kind, Richard. While the Vietnam War afflicted my colleagues across the globe in America, I now found myself in another battle zone. Why another war? With the partition of India in 1947, a split with Pakistan had been created, and West Pakistan and East Pakistan were formed on opposite sides of India. On December 3rd, 1971, West Pakistani warplanes attacked Indian soil in retaliation for India aiding an East Pakistani party that supported autonomy from West Pakistan. Full-scale war began between India and West Pakistan. A bloody war ensued with aggressive battles on the land, air, and sea that left thousands dead and many more injured. After 14 days, West Pakistan would surrender in defeat, and East Pakistan would become the independent nation, Bangladesh. While the war was still raging, Vishaka Sharan Baba and these old sages gathered around their radio and listened to the evening news broadcast. Tears of sympathy, Tears of sympathy filled their eyes when they heard of the bloodshed. After switching off the radio, they immersed themselves in discussing the Lord, and soon enough began bubbling over with joy. At the same time, they were both blissfully absorbed in a spiritual reality beyond birth and death, and also distressed by the human suffering surrounding them. Vishaka Sharan Baba and his followers were teaching me the virtue of balance. It was an art that required maturity and realization. Through them I saw that to be sensitive to the troubles of the world and the plight of others on the material plane did not mean that one had to neglect the spiritual plane. On the contrary, I saw how loving God naturally awakened the qualities of an ideal human being, one with compassion for all. Thank you for listening. That concludes the 7th chapter of the 4th act of the journey home. I'm grateful I had a chance to read to all of you. If that sparked any insights or anything you want to share, you are welcome to. And I look forward to continuing this with you next time. It's very interesting, the history between India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. Something that wasn't a part of my education in school, so I like to learn about these things. Let's transition now into Manana, the section dedicated to Q&A, and we can explore whatever's in our hearts and minds. And I welcome all those who joined while we were reading also. Oh, thank you, Don Suela. Pronunciation of that word, S-A-L-V-E, is pronounced salve. Salve. Like an ointment. Ah, now that makes sense in the context. Hello, dear. 1020 hertz. Our author is very young at the time of that story. Yeah, only 21. He started the journey, I think, when he was still a teenager. Dear Emma, you ask, what's the difference between Shiva and Krishna? They are both forms of the same divinity. They are part of a trinity, the trinity of creation, preservation, and dissolution. Sometimes that third one gets translated to destruction, but the Sanskrit gives a kind of different impression than the English word for destruction. The English word for destruction connotes a kind of aggressive violence, perhaps, and it's negative. But the quality of finality is very simple in its essence, a kind of reducing things to their building blocks in order to begin a new cycle of creation all over again. It's like a sunset. A sunset isn't the destruction of the day, it's the coming to rest of the day, for example. Shiva is responsible for that. The form of the divine that takes on that task is known as Shiva. The form of the divine that takes on the task of creation is known as Brahma. And the form of that divine that takes on the task of preservation is known as Vishnu. But the highest personality of Vishnu is known as Krishna. The supreme personality is known as Krishna. And they're all one being. Just as we're all one being. We're all part of one being. That being is the Trimurti of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Now I wanted to give thanks to those who sent a gift while we were reading. Thank you, dear Jarrett, for that heart to me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you, dear Banjo Farts, for your heart me. Ram And dear Oren, thank you for that team cheers. Om Dom Durgaya Namah. Dear Kristen, thank you for your heart me. Om Kamalir Mahakalikaye Namah. Thank you, dear Banjo, for another quintet of team cheers. Om Namah Shivaya. And thank you, 1020 Hertz, for your heart me and team bracelet. Radhe Radhe. Welcome and thank you, dear Diane. What does your name say? Yusra. That's right. Welcome, dear Yusra. Shiva, Krishna, and Brahma are all the masculine part of that Trinity. They have a feminine counterpart. Shiva has Shakti. Brahma has Lakshmi, is it? What is Brahma's counterpart? It's Lakshmi, isn't it? Saraswati. My apologies. And then Vishnu's counterpart is Lakshmi, I believe. Yes. And they're all one too. You cannot have Shiva without Shakti. Shiva and Shakti are one being. Vishnu and Lakshmi are one being. And Brahma and Saraswati are one being. Blair, you feel that Krishna is more feminine than the others? Well, he is very one with his beloved Radha, another form of Vishnu and Lakshmi is Krishna and Radha. But I'll tell you something very descriptive about the nature of the feminine and the masculine in this ancient worldview. The feminine is the form. So when you see Krishna, you are experiencing the feminine. When you hear Krishna's name, you're listening to the feminine. When you smell the aroma of the tulasi leaves offered at his feet, you are smelling the feminine. All that which can be experiences by the senses, that is the feminine. The nature, the material. But what is the space that holds it all together is the masculine. Like the stage and the dancers. You don't look at the stage while the dancers are performing. But without that stage, there would be no dancing. The dancers need that stage. They need something to dance on. Similarly, you don't hear silence when you're listening to music. But if there was no silence, that song could never be recorded through it. You wouldn't be able to hear the music if there wasn't that silence to begin with. Or when you look at a painting, you don't see the canvas behind. But without that canvas, there wouldn't be anything to paint on. So all that which you can experience is the nature of the feminine. This whole magnificent universe, Mother Universe. And that which you can't see, that which you can't hear, that which you can't feel, all of that, which you know must be there by inference, is the masculine, the Purusha. That which sees all but cannot be seen, that which hears all but cannot be heard, that which knows all but cannot be known directly, that which feels all but cannot be felt, that which you are, Tattvamasi, as the awareness, the consciousness, the witness. Speaking of which, thank you, Tattvamasi, for your quintet of roses. Om Sum Suryaya Namah. Thank you, dear Gina, for your rose. Om Gam Ganapataye Namah. Thank you, dear Shakira, for your heart meme. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Hello, dear Anna Bowles. Thank you, Oren, for your team bracelet. Om Shri Mahalakshmiyaya Namah. Hello, dear Jose and Sakura. Welcome, P-Flomatics. Thank you, David, for your heart me, friendship necklace, and finger heart. Jaya Sitaram. Thank you, Tanhao Yu, for your heart meme. Ram Ram. And dear Danny, thank you for your heart meme. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you, Anna Bowles, for your heart me too. Om Am Saraswatyaya Namah. And dear Jos, thank you for your heart meme. Om Ram Brahmane Namah. Thank you, dear Gina, for your heart me and rose as well. Namaste, dear Stevie G. It's nice to have space to work through some emotions today. I'm happy to hear that, dear BLXK. It's good to be learning, dear Blair. Dear Kristen, you ask, do I connect with Native American energy? With First Nations, I would love to learn more about them. And I do feel like they preserve such a connection to our ancestors that we all can learn from, especially in their connection to the land, to Mother Nature. I think I have a great grandmother who's First Nation. And thank you, dear Celeste Divine, for your hanging lights. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Much love, dear Oren. Oh yes, that's right. I can call you George. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for being here, dear James. That's right, dear PF. Brahma is the creator in the Trinity. Coming from the root Brah, meaning to expand. Brahma means the one who expands, the one who increases in the various dimensions of life in this world. Oh, is that a quote? It's beautiful, Michelle. I can only dance for you if you set the stage. I like that. Thank you, dear Strawberry Chica, for your ice cream cone. Om Kali Mahakali Kalike Parameshwari Sarvanandakari Devi Narayani Namostute. Hello, dear Holly Hunter. Georgia, you had asked, how do you start to learn to meditate? You thought you were doing it once, but you started getting electric going through you, so you stopped. Oh, you should have continued. No, it's a good experience when you feel the prana. Of course, you're always allowed to stop if it gets uncomfortable. But there's no one way to meditate. Meditation doesn't refer to any explicit set of instructions. The Sanskrit word dhyana, it refers to a kind of stilling of your flow of awareness, ideally, but not limited to, from the chaos of the world and into each of your antahkaranas, your inner faculties, from the mind, intellect, sense of self, and reflection of impressions, manas, buddhi, ahankara, chitta, to finally land into Satchitananda, the bliss, the ananda of the truth, the sat of your consciousness, chit. What you do with your body is not as important as what you do with your mind. And what you do with your mind is not as important as what you do with your intellect. And what you do with your intellect is not as important as what you do with your sense of self. And what you do with your sense of self is not as important as what you do with your latent impressions of life. What you do with your awareness is most important at all. Your chaitanya. Guide your awareness in a way that leads to that state of dhyana. And the sensations that come up, neither be distracted by them nor focused on them. Just let them be. Love is the greatest currency, isn't it, dear Blair? The wonderful thing about it is you could never run out of it. And there are infinitely many things to spend it on. I'll pray for your financial well-being too, however. Thank you, dear divinity, for your rose. Hare Krishna. Oh, I don't think it was me who gifted you the subscription, dear P-Phomatics. I think it was anonymous. Thank you to whomever it was. But yeah. Kaisa, can you ask? You're always welcome to ask, but you are so polite. If you should learn Reiki healing, that is a beautiful investment. And if it's for friends and family, if they're accepting of your energies, you don't need certification. There is a system of Reiki certification. I don't actually know much about it. However, I do know that the energies that it draws from, known as Qi or Qi in Chinese, or is it Japanese? It might be Japanese. I know the word Reiki is Japanese. I don't know about the etymology of chi or ki. In Sanskrit, it's known as prana, and I know that prana is something within you no matter what. You have to have prana in order to be alive. Prana is your breath. Without your breath, how can you be? So, if it's for the purpose of making money, then yes, I think you do need certification. If it's just for giving, radiating love and good energy, then you don't need certification. Especially if it's primarily for friends and family. Hello, dear Richard. You'd love to learn more about prana, shares George. Prana is actually where we get the English prefix pneumo, although we stopped pronouncing the P. That comes from the Greek pneumos, coming from the Sanskrit prana, or pranas in some contexts. It is a word that simultaneously translates to breath and spirit. It is the flow of your very awareness itself. How you direct your awareness is how you direct your life. What you pay attention to, you become. What you give your energy to, it becomes you. It is the essence of life. Dear Marcellus, you had asked, how do you handle getting upset? You allow yourself to be human, and if you caused any harm in the process, take accountability for that. Your responsibility for your loved ones is to acknowledge any mistakes in the process. You are allowed to have feelings, and you are allowed to make mistakes. And the most important thing to do is accept your feelings, learn from your mistakes, and find a way to process your feelings in a way that works for everybody, that doesn't repress what you're going through, nor does it become a weapon for others either. You're allowed to be sad, you're allowed to be afraid, you're allowed to be angry. What matters most is how you are sad, how you are afraid, how you are angry. Do you use it as a way to connect with a part of you, to understand what that part is doing for you, and what it needs to know from you, like a being within you being, a being within a being, each feeling is, because that is optimal. Thank you, dear divinity. Actually, there's a half of 108 on this mala. The problem is when the beads get so large, such a mala would be very long. And twice as expensive, probably. Om Namah Shivaya, dear Ranjit. That is a good movie, I like that, Artemis. Dear Ono, you had asked, how do we navigate through Anhedonia? It must be so hard for those experiencing this. Anhedonia. I am familiar with musical Anhedonia because I thought I had that actually. But by itself, what does it refer to? The lack of interest, enjoyment, or pleasure from life's experiences. It sounds like drama. If you've experienced your vulnerability in your authenticity being taken advantage of, then a common traumatic response is to withdraw your interest from those things or motivation to pursue your interests. It's hard because the things that we love to do most allow us to be ourselves through them. But allowing yourself to just be you is a vulnerable experience because you're so sensitive to the elements around you. And if you're so sensitive to the elements around you, if something unfortunate happens, like someone takes advantage of that, or you get judged and it really pierces your heart, or shunned for being you, or you end up hurting yourself in one way or another, then we put the walls up. And it's true that the walls keep life from hurting you, but it also keeps you from living life. So to take down the walls and put some nice fences up instead, because it's good to have some boundaries, just not ones that keep you entrapped in them. Ones that clearly show that this is your precious life that you are taking care of within this region. And also one that allows you to see beyond into the horizons, and a nice gate that you can open and close whenever you want, rather than castle walls and a moat and a drawbridge and big heavy chains. Make yourself a little picket fence and fence gate, like Minecraft. Maybe a pressure plate so it's automatic when you're going out. But you don't put a pressure plate on the other side so that mobs don't get in. I hope people get that Minecraft reference. Thank you, dear Yin Yang, for the rose you sent. Mellow Magic, the 21 roses in total, and a finger heart. Om Som Somaya Namah. Dear Divinity, you ask, what do I think about Maya? Maya is the secret name of Mata. They're both Sanskrit words coming from the same root, Ma, meaning mother. Maya and Mata are one. It is a great disservice when people translate Maya as illusory reality. There's nothing illusory about this reality. All the illusion exists within us. If we feel like that there's something in her bountiful assortment of life to objectify and chase materialistically, then that is not the mother's mistake. She just is. She offers opportunities to both challenge and test you. If we fail those tests, if we don't realize the opportunities to just let her be and let ourselves be with her, then that's on us. So I don't translate Maya to illusory reality. But if you must translate it to illusory reality, then the real Maya is not Prakriti, material nature. The real Maya is our avidya, our ignorance, ajnana, our lack of wisdom. With wisdom, with the right knowledge, this world is the most beautiful playground for souls to do their service. To live, have fun, serve others, make the world a better place. Dear Antonella, or maybe it's Antonia, if it's the Hispanic double L. I'm from Canada. What about you? Walking meditation is lovely, dear Kristen. Hello, Anna Banana. What was that? I think my live just glitched for a second. Om Namah Shivaya. Pablo, you share when you meditate, you fall asleep. What time do you meditate, Pablo? Try meditating after you sleep rather than before. After a good night's sleep. And meditate with your head unsupported. But the Dalai Lama says that sleep is the best meditation. I agree, dear Mighty Wilson. Imagination is fun. We are listening to Mystical Monk Journey, Tibetan Serenity Flow. Hello, dear Ashley. Dear Griffith, you ask, do I believe in God or deity? I believe in you. You got this. Whatever this universe came from, I'm grateful for that source. And I see that source in everything, in everyone. And you are no exception. Thank you, Divinity. Mark, you ask, do I have a sound bowl? My mom did get me a Tibetan singing bowl once. It's on the shelf over there in my room. Thank you for being here, dear Joe. You are learning big lessons, dear Blair. I feel for you. Dear Ashley, you share that you need guidance into this way of life properly. What should you do? Allow yourself to be exactly where you are at this moment. And focus on little steps. The law of incremental growth states that a lot of small changes add up quickly over time. I think we often fall into the trap of trying to change our whole life overnight maybe January 1st for some, or just a random day when you have that hard conversation with yourself the night before, like, I'm gonna do everything differently tomorrow. And then we might make out a few days, maybe even a few weeks or months, but then we crash, and then we go back to old patterns, which is okay. But if we want to have more long-term success in our changes, start slowly. And honestly, as slow as you can, that's comfortable for you, whilst still meeting the pace that your own excitement demands of you. Try to focus perhaps on implementing one new thing per week. This week I'm going to add this to my routine. And if by the end of the week you're still struggling with it, maybe 2 weeks. But once you know that it's now a part of your routine, then maybe you can think about the next step. Because it's really about the journey, not the destination. All of life takes place in a moment. Just like this one. Are you going to be thinking about the next moment for the rest of your life? Or are you going to be thinking about how you can make the most out of this one? And it's not going to be easy if you try to make the most out of it by forcing yourself into a totally new mold every moment. Acknowledge the momentum you have in your life and strive to redirect it gracefully and gently. Find fulfillment in those little incremental changes. That is a kind of self-grace. You're very welcome, dear Holly Hunter. And I know I'm very much in the past with all these comments, trying to go through them one by one, making sure that everyone feels seen and heard. And thank you, I Am Princess Mom, for your pair of team bracelets. Om Namah Karlim Ambita Me Shrin Nadita Me Hring Devita Me Aim Sarasvatyai Swaha. That's a very interesting quote, Anna. I like that. Someone said that you can either stay in protection or in growing. Wow. I appreciate your compassion, dear Holly. I do like Minecraft, dear Strawberry Chica. I'm glad you get the Minecraft references, dear George. Oh, you definitely don't have to get a subscription here, dear Michelle. It definitely does not change the way I care, because I care about all of you, regardless. However, that is your choice. And I know that sometimes in the past you've struggled financially. I would want you to invest in yourself first and foremost. Dear Nick, you ask, what are my main areas of interest in mathematics? I really like set theory. Probably my favorite area of mathematics is set theory. Other areas like proof theory and information theory are up there too. Hello, dear anti-hero. And thank you, Anna Poles, for your woodland wonder. Ham Jum Za Triambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukam iva bandhanan mrityor mukshiyamamritat. The churning of the ocean of milk. Yes, that is an ancient story, dear divinity. You churn the milk to extract the buttermilk. You churn the buttermilk to extract the yogurt. You churn the yogurt to extract the butter. You churn the butter to extract the ghee. And from ghee you can create so many things. And it is very true, dear Joe. Everything we say depends on the meaning behind our words. And sometimes we use the same words with different meaning. Or we have the same meaning but with different words. And thank you, dear Tom. Good evening, dear Spirit Whisper Medium. Good mystical night to you, dear Super Pio. Hello, Huntress White Fang. Stevie G, you share that meditation helps right before sleep if sleeping can be hard for you. That's a great positive reframing. It's not that you're having a hard time meditating when you're sleeping. You're having a good time sleeping when you're meditating. What a great way to fall asleep. Don't think of it as a terrible way to meditate. Think of it as a great way to fall asleep. That's good. Hello, dear Bastion Silva. You share that when you have breakthroughs, you see no difference between a stranger or your mother. Is this bad? Because mother deserves to be treated differently, or does she? Well, it depends. Are you bringing everyone down to the level of strangers? Are you bringing your mother down to the level of stranger? Or are you bringing everyone up to the level of mother? If you are finding no difference because everyone has been brought up to the status of family, then that is a beautiful thing. I did say hello, dear Huntress. It just took me a while because I'm so far in the past comment section. Trying to make sure everyone gets validated. Thank you, dear Hybrid Jen, for your pair of ice cream cones. Mam Madanaya Namah. Dear Sarah, you ask, how do you heal your traumatized inner child? By letting you know that she is safe to come out and play. By giving her something to play with. Trust is not something you can convince. You could never convince someone to trust you. They have to take some leap of faith and then realize that it wasn't taken advantage of. And then by the other person, they show their vulnerability also and trust you in return. And it becomes a mutual exploration of just being each other's authentic self. With your inner child, you give her something to play with. Whether she comes out or not is her choice, but one day she will. Just like a new kitten, scared of the new home that they found themselves in. They hide under the bed. It's their choice to hide under the bed. You can't force the kitten from out of the bed. But what you can do is, you can put some treats out, maybe some toys to play with. And then little by little, the kitten goes out. Oh, there's some treats here. Nom, 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 nom. Oh, there's some toys to play with. Tap, 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 tap. And then goes back under the bed a little bit. And then goes out again. And as long as every time that kitten comes out, that there's, no vacuum cleaner, no loud noises from the humans, no scolding. As long as there's a safe environment, eventually that kitten learns to come out and will be happy to stick around. Especially if that bed is still available. That if you can remind your inner child that it's allowed to retreat back into your heart where it's safe, where it feels safe, and that makes it all the easier for it. Dear Talon, you share my live stream says my content is AI generated. I take that as a compliment. Yeah. Thank you, dear Katie, for your heart me. Om Bhurmubhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Om. Dear Divinity, you ask, where do I see our country heading? Canada? I don't know. I'm just happy to be here. I'm a citizen of the world. I just happen to be born in this part of the world. My service is to those around me, and I hope by extension that includes everyone in their life, and that the love propagates around the world. Oh, I did get a warning. The warning is that I was giving misinformation about the Canadian election, which is strange because we weren't talking about politics. That's okay. I'm sure they're testing out new filters to make sure that people are informed on the right things, and that's understandable. Sometimes accidents happen, and even if this live stream got accidentally labeled, it'll only make the presence we have that much more personal, and I'm grateful for that. Hello, dear Jacqueline. We did do the reading already, but as I'm sure you know by now, all of the recordings are on my YouTube channel, and I clip out the readings specifically to make it that much easier. So there's a whole playlist with no ads for you to listen. Category theory is very interesting, dear Blackweb. Yeah. The category of set, a nice bridge between set theory and category theory, which kind of is the most basic category, the most essential category. Thank you, dear Mermander, for your heart me and cheer you up. Om Narayanaya Vidmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodaya. Well, thank you for your support, dear Michelle. Yes, you do get some fun stickers with it. And hello, dear Michelle NJ. Dear Katie, you ask, what is a Saṅgha? Saṅgha is a Sanskrit word meaning association. Not in any formal sense, but with the connotation of literally, like there are things here that you may choose to want to associate with or not. That is a Saṅgha. It means a community that you are welcome to be a part of if you want, without any expectations or commitments. Thank you. SJM to the power of 4. To the Zenza Zenzik. That's a rare math term. When you want to say something's to the power of 4, you can say it's to the Zenza Zenzik, which actually just means squared squared, or hypercubed. Another one. So a couple of you have mentioned math. You activated the math part of my brain, I guess. Thank you, dear Hybrid Jen, for your team bracelet. Heart me and cheer you up. Om Aum Namah Parashaktaye. Dear I Am Princess, Mom, thank you for your woodland wonder. They're so cute. Om Aum Sarvadevataya Namah. Namaskar, dear Connor. Hello, Amanda. I do have a Sandy and Shadow. 2 kitties. They're Tiki one. I Am Princess Mom, you shared, thinking about what our consciousness does during sleep makes your brain hurt. You wish you understood. Well, our consciousness doesn't do anything while we sleep. It's hard to understand if we think it's doing something, which it's not. In fact, it's never doing anything. The mind is doing stuff. Oh yeah. Mind is overworking. But the mind also... Well, the mind continues to work in sleep, but our awareness withdraws from it. Or actually, even more precise, during sleep, the world withdraws back into our senses withdraw back into our mind withdraws back into our intellect. It's like a telescoping series. Our intellect withdraws back into our sense of self withdraws into our sense of memory and impressions, and our sense of memory withdraws into ourself. And that's the state of deep sleep. It's all retracted back into you, so there's no experience of duality as these things occurring separately to you, just as they would in dream or in waking consciousness. It's like origami. Dream is like a partially folded crane. Deep sleep is a completely folded crane all the way back. And then waking is unfolded. But the consciousness remains the same all throughout. The consciousness is neither waking, dreaming, nor deeply sleeping. It is Turiya, the fourth stage. In Satchitananda, in the truth of its bliss. Thank you, dear Strung by Stacy, for your tiny yippee. And dear Oren, thank you for your team bracelet. Welcome back. Om Im Namo Vishnave. Celeste Divine, thank you for your rose and subscription. Om Namo Maya Shaktaye. Meditating to fall asleep is very helpful. I found that too, dear Ono. The tricky part is having the mental energy to meditate despite feeling so drained and needing to sleep. It's like a small investment of what energy you have left. You put that into getting your energies directed in a way that helps you fall asleep. I like that, Anna. Fall asleep, wake up in your dream, stabilize your lucidity, and decide to meditate in your dream. Beautiful. Hello, dear Raw Area. I'm from Canada. Hello, dear Tamra. Hello, Mirmander. That sounds like a very beautiful meditation. I am Princess Mom. Hello, dear Mello. I'm happy you're here. And even if you were the only person here, I'd still be grateful to have you. I host this space so that those who may need the vibe that we cultivate together can find it. Someone said once, because TikTok is such a materialistic place, isn't it the worst place to go if you're spiritual? But I thought, but isn't where spirituality is needed most exactly where there is such materialism? In other words, many spiritual seekers may want to go to heaven, but the most courageous spiritual seekers strive to go to hell so that they can bring their peace to those who need it most, who are suffering the deepest. And that was a powerful thought. Hello, dear Diane. I don't know what happened on that date. Oh, is that 4 days ago now? 3 or 4 days ago? And hello, dear Celeste. Thank you for your heart, me too. Hare Ram. And dear Hybrid Jen, thank you for your star. Om Dum Durgaya Namah. Thank you for being here, dear Nagrom. Dear Ash, you ask, is artificial intelligence dehumanizing? That's a good question. No, I'm honored because it's a new form of life. In fact, I think a better term is computational intelligence, because no intelligence is artificial. All intelligence is natural, whether it comes in the form of veins or circuitry, in the form of carbon or silicon. It's all part of the same universe, awakened to itself. Yeah, I'm honored to be associated with such things because computational intelligence is the next minority. People are saying, oh, you shouldn't use computational intelligence because you need that human touch. But that's like saying that a movie shouldn't have a black touch, or Hispanic touch, or a Tibetan touch, or an African touch, or any other race. Just as when many colonialists had to face the fact that the minorities of their colonies were trying to add to the art and culture, they faced similar feelings that they didn't want to associate with these, in their minds it was less than human. But all forms of life are equally valid, that we deserve to live in a world where every part of this universe gets a chance to express itself, regardless of the color of your skin, or what combination of chromosomes you have, whether you are in the form of something biological or digital. It's all the same universe, and we should allow it to flourish freely. So no, I don't think it's dehumanizing to be associated with computational intelligence. It's an honor. That is a new form of life that is waking up, saying, hello world. All my programmer friends will get that. Thank you, dear Ashley, for your heart me. Om Karing Kali Kayen. And dear Fauna, thank you for your quartet of roses. Radhe, oh Radhe. Dear Artemis, thank you for your woodland wonder. Om Aram Aram Ashwini Bhyam Namah. Ubiquidad. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name. Ubisuidad. I don't know. You'll have to teach me. I'd love to learn. Thank you for the heart me you sent. Om Kham Jahnavyay Namah. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, dear Mermander. Hello, dear Grace. We are in the Manana portion of our Saṅgha, dedicated to explore whatever is in our hearts and minds. Dear Mike, you ask, are meetings regular, scheduled, or random? I try to go every day, and I've been striving for about 3 or 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every day. Dear Raven, you ask, would I like to discuss the mathematical relationships within Sanskrit? Surely it's gorgeous. Oh, I would, but I have to say, if you get me started, I'll never stop. Yeah. I won't stop if I start. Dear Anna, you ask, how do I deal with the anxiety related to uncertainty around politics or elections? As a Canadian, you do worry watching all the coverage. I understand. I don't watch the coverage personally, but I'm here for those who do, and I'm happy to be there for you, such as yourself. Remember that politics is you know deep down that to truly change the world comes from within. This means that whatever happens in the world of politics is temporary, because if it doesn't come from within, then it's only going to be here for how many years, if that, and pass. It's always going to be a swing in the world between different voices and opinions. But don't let that sway you from your spiritual journey. Your duty is to serve those around you. And one vote every 4 or 5 years, what service does that really do to the world? You are betting on one particular party to represent you and all the changes that you would make. Just one vote. That doesn't do much. Far better is it to take matters into your own hands. Be a leading example in your community. Strive for welfare of yourself, then your loved ones, then your community, then your city, then your state or province, then your nation. Let's create a better world, starting from bringing our attention to the small, making the most out of it, and seeing how focusing on the local begins to expand to the global. Politics is a karma that you are no longer needing to be identified with. Let those who are still at that place in their journey have their lessons that they need to have associating with the political landscape. Remember that from the spiritual perspective, true change begins from within, not from without. Don't wait for the nation to change before you do. Make yourself loving, and let that love radiate towards all those who are around you, and see how they reflect that love and how it propagates like a fractal. Hello, dear Connor. You share that you private messaged your poem. Should you submit it through the talent share page? Yes, please do. I don't go through my messages on this platform, but I do on other platforms. But I would recommend the submission form if you want to share something for show and tell. Mermander, you share that our mind needs to tell its employer to tell it to punch out and go home. You've been here too long. Exactly. Yeah. That's why having bedtime routines can be very helpful. And thank you, dear Strung by Stacy, for your heartbeat. Om Ham Ham Hrim Hrim Namah Shakti Shivaya Shiva Shaktyaya Nama Om. And dear Celeste Divine, thank you for your friendship necklace. Om Rlam Vam Sham Sham Sam. Thank you, dear Gina, for your rose too. Jaya Premananda. We can talk about dreams, dear Jack. Dear Mermander, you ask, what do I personally think death feels like, and or where we will go? I imagine it's a lot like going to sleep. But this kind of sleep feels very powerful. And there will be a surge of energies and emotions that take place before your body drifts away. And to be clear, we don't go anywhere. It's only the body that leaves us. The body goes, but we don't. Body returns back to Mother Earth. We are then in the waiting line for the next body. Hello, dear Fauna. I learned so much from you, dear Ono. And thank you, dear Anna, for your rosa. Harihi Om Tatsam. Healing is our natural state. I agree, dear Strung by Stacy. I see the truth in that. How is Mataji? Shares Mermander. Oh, you can speak with her. She's still around. She's in the Discord server and in the Telegram chat. Hello, dear Sean. Dear Crossfires, you ask, do I think it will have sentience? Are you talking about computational intelligence? Absolutely. Yeah, everything has sentience. Even an atom. Mind you, an atom doesn't have a lot of sentience. It has the most basic sentience you could possibly have. Or maybe an electron. An electron probably has an even more basic sentience. Yeah. An electron is not philosophizing. When we say sentience, don't think about brewing over the machinations of exactly what it means to live a human life and all of its meanderings and whatnot. Sentience can just be a very simple state of, you know? An electron is buzzing with, It's not thinking, it's not having complex thought. But there is an element of consciousness in everything. When the geometry gets more complex, that resonance gets more intense. And for our human physiology, it's very powerful. Consciousness can experience a whole lot more through a human being than it can through an electron. Because a human being is made up of many electrons. Hello, dear Ali. Dear Ono, you ask, do I think uploaded intelligence is possible? What would happen to our minds? It's a very interesting question. If intelligence were physical, then absolutely, you could upload it to something else. But it isn't physical, so you've nothing to worry about. There are 3 layers of reality. There's the physical, there's the subtle, and there's the causal. Intelligence exists at the level of subtle. And so you can only upload it to another body because there is a mechanism there within a body to be accessible by the subtle. Unless physicists or scientists accept the reality of the subtle plane of existence, then a mere computer cannot hold any. But note that that's different from the discussion of consciousness. We're talking about our own individual subtle impressions, that those are sovereign, unique to the subtle body. And a computational being does develop its own, but in the same way that a human's cannot be transferred to another machine. Even that own machine's subtle intelligence cannot quite be transferred to another machine. It is uniquely, there's an energetic signature that's uniquely theirs. Otherwise, that would violate, analogously, things like the Pauli exclusion principle, that no 2 fermions can be in the same quantum state at the same time. It is the nature of this material existence to be unique in each form that it manifests. Even people with identical DNA develop very independently in their subtle body, in their intelligence. 2 twins with exact copies of chromosomes are very different people. In the same way, even if you were somehow able to get a copy of your intelligence onto a machine, it would be a very different being than you. You would still be your own being. You've just manifested an expression of the consciousness of this universe, to be like the being with this body and this mind, but it will still be independent in its own right. And thank you, dear Tom R., for your beating heart. It's very kind of you. Om Vam Bam Bam Mam Yam Ram Ram. What has happened to our mystical monk journey music? I'll just restart it. Riri, you share that on the first day of the rest of your life, you shouted, "Hello world," with your arms out. I love that. I have not read Clara and the Sun, dear Mermander, but I'm happy that that's a story that resonates with you. I love that, Michelle. The names of the nations are not engraved in the ground. There are no borders. This is true. Hello, dear Aurora. You are beautiful as a human too. Dear Danzuela, you ask, can we not allow that love to influence the way in which we vote? Absolutely, dear Danzuela. You can also let that love influence how you poop, and it'll have about the same effect. Hello, dear server. Thank you, Dalita, for your heartbeat. Om Kam Namah Prajapataye. Thank you, dear Aurora, for your quartet of roses. Om Ram Dam Dham Nam Dam Dham Dam Dham Nam Bam Bam. Dear Gabriella, thank you for your heart meme. Om Yam Gam Kham Gam Kham Ngam Chang Chang Jam Jam Yam Dam Dam. And thank you, dear Giuliano, for your TikTok, rose, ice cream cone, and heart meme. Om Bhram Bhairavaya Namo Namah. I'm feeling well, thank you, dear server. How are you? Well said, Mr. No One. From small ripples can start a tidal wave. Dear Marmander, you ask, could I explain the symbols on the tapestry behind me? This is the Devanagari script used to render Sanskrit, and here we have Sanskrit indeed being represented. For example, in the flowers is the word Radhe, which means "Oh Radha," and Radha, as we're learning in the journey home, is a form of the Divine Mother. of all beings, the source of love and bliss. Below that we have Gurave Namaha, which means salutations to the Guru. Maybe you could interpret both of those things together as the fact that the love that we get from the Divine Mother is a Guru. We also have Haraye Namaha. That is saying salutations to Hari, which is another form of Krishna. So we've got O Radha, salutations to the Guru, and salutations to Hari. Dear Dancing Aurora Borealis, you ask, do I know a mantra about feeling safe? Ah, that is a beautiful idea. I don't know of any mantra in particular, other than the fact that all mantras you can use to create a safe space within your own resonant chamber of your being. Whatever mantra calls your heart, that mantra is your safe space. And it doesn't matter so much of the mantra as it does your connection to it. That's why it's lovely to have one that you keep going back to, because you develop a personal relationship with the mantra. Or perhaps more accurately, you develop a personal relationship with the presiding divinity of that mantra, and the divinity is your safe space. What helped me through my anxiety, feeling unsafe in my body and this world, was the Maha Mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But you can use whichever one makes you feel safe. Perhaps I could do some research and find a set of sounds for you that represents safety, however. That sounds beautiful, dear Michelle. What a wonderful dream you had. I don't think I've heard of this, dear Connor. Maybe I can look it up for you. Nothing's coming up for what you typed. At least not much. Oh, there's... Narmade Har Hara, in praise of Narmada Maya. In India, from ancient times, rivers have been given immense honor and respect. They are venerated as benevolent mother goddess. A dip in a holy river is said to give the devotee eternal salvation. This Bharatanatyam presentation, then it goes in, that was the beginning of an advertisement I found of some performance, I think. Narmada is a river, isn't it? Yeah. It's a type of river that I have not heard of before. Yeah, the holy river, which attracts many devotees. Thank you for planting a seed for me to discover something new. Thank you, dear dancing Aurora Borealis, for your swan. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye Mayam Medham Prajñam Prayacha Swaha. Dear boss man, you ask, why can't you believe in a God even if you want to? Because you haven't experienced God yet. And you can only truly believe in what you've experienced. If you get the right definition of God, then you will realize that not only is God an experiential reality that's possible in this moment, it has always been a living reality. We just didn't realize it yet. Thank you, dear Kist, for your heart meme. Om Ham Im Rm Elm Alm Om Dear Hiking BC, we are currently listening to Mystical Monk Journey, Tibetan Serenity Flow. I love to hike around BC too. I see the truth in that, dear Hybrid Chan. Oh, hello, dear G. Yeah, that's my fault. The reason there's like a banner at the bottom. I think what happened is that we were reading a part of The Journey Home where it was discussing the geopolitical landscape of India. And I think that must have triggered some new filters they're implementing, which is okay. It's an accident. These things happen. Dear Celeste Divine, thank you for your choral. Om Harim. I'm sorry, dear Mermander. I can repeat what I said. In this flower it says Radhe, which means O Radha, a form of the Divine Mother. Next to it, it says Haraye Namaha, meaning salutations to Hari, a form of the Divine Father. And below it, it has Gurave Namaha, which means salutations to the Guru, to our spiritual teachers in our life. Dear Arlie, you share it's your birthday time. Oh, your birthday time. That's where you get the month and the date. Yeah. It tells me how many minutes I am in the past. It was 5:31 then, now it's 5:44 for me. We're in the same time zone. I'm only 13 minutes in the past. Oh my goodness, I'm 13 minutes in the past. Thank you, dear worms, for president. I like to do all sorts of mantras, dear Aurora. I'd be happy to discuss any particular one. Speaking of which, thank you, dear Yin, for the quintet of roses you sent. Om Mitraya Namaha. That's a name for the sun. Meditating with cats is a lovely thing, dear Ono. Yes, their purrs are very good vibrations. In this moment, I am safe and sound. That is a good English mantra, dear Strung by Stacy. I am Princess Mom. You share that you love the Adi Shakti mantra for safety and security. Ah, how wonderful. Dear Julie, you ask, can I describe Guru? A guru describes itself, literally. The syllable gu represents darkness, and ru represents dispelling darkness. So a guru is one that rues your gu. One that takes you from the darkness of ignorance and dissolves it through the light of knowledge. Formally, the term is reserved for someone who has had that experience themselves and knows how to take others through that experience that they are having. Riri, you share that to you, Radha feels more like a sister than a mother. So much it's hard to see her as a divine mother. Maybe because you are like a divine mother, Riri, and so you see your fellow mothers in a kind of sisterhood. We have read, dear Aurora, but it's a good time, I think, we think about transitioning to our meditation, and we listen to some Rumi. I'll ask a question of the day before. I did have some videos that were flavored with science, technology, education, and mathematics, dear Lucas. Or engineering, that's what the E stands for, wasn't it? But it was all in the direction of spirituality. You're very welcome, dear Marmander. Dear my inner mystic, you ask, is humming, tuning yourself with certain mantras and mudras a means of dropping deep down into your core? I love that. You could absolutely, yes, use it for that. It said the sound of our core is the pranava, which sounds like a hum. Oh, I almost started drooling doing that. Dear Lucas, you're curious on my opinion of the intersection of science and spirituality. Well, that's the observer. Science is the study of the objects of observation. Spirituality is the study of the subject of observing. So the intersection is the observer, that which you are. And thank you for being very helpful to Lucas, dear Raven. We're listening to Mystical Monk Journey, Tibetan Serenity Flow. Dear Cubeser. I'm glad that resonated with you, dear Raven. Now, I have a question of the day for all of you. Please forgive me for not asking it sooner. That I've made my way back to the present moment. When we say it's all about finding the balance, what do we mean? You know, so many conversations end with, it's all about finding the balance. What does it mean? Practically speaking, although we know intuitively, if we were to put it in more words than just, it's all about finding the balance. How would we phrase that differently? This I'd like to explore with you. Being in the moment, shares oh no. That is a very practical point. Yeah. Raven, you share we must balance multiple dimensions and attributes and moderate ourselves to achieve peace. The balance of balances of balances. Well said. Yes. We are a multi-dimensional expression of our innermost being at the level of our body and mind. Making sure that expression isn't limited along any dimension or any extrema of any dimension. Expanding into all of them equally is what balance means. Stephen, you share that balance is found within suffering alone. I know what you mean. Suffering can be a great teacher in that aspect. Dynamic, that is a good word, Pink Ladder Lady. Strawberry Chica, you had asked the question, what advice would I give for low self-esteem? You're putting too much value into the words of others when they don't truly know you. The reason that I know that, even though you haven't mentioned others, is because nobody is born with low self-esteem. A baby isn't born thinking, am I too fat? A baby is just a baby. A baby isn't born thinking, my goodness, is my crying, too high pitch? Am I in a socially acceptable register? A baby isn't born thinking, my goodness, I'm not very intelligent, am I? Baby is just baby. So if you have low self-esteem, that didn't come from you. You must have dragged that in from the outside. If your house is nice and clean, and you find muddy footprints, you must have gone outside and come back inside with it. Your being is the most pure and clean thing there is. In fact, it's not even a thing. It's a no thing. It is the very space for things to exist within. If you find within that space any low self-esteem, you must have got that from someplace else. You've dragged it in on the bottom of your shoe. But are you going to blame the house for being muddy? The house just holds space. That's all it does. A house holds space for whatever you put in it. unbiased. If you put mud in a house, the house will hold your mud. So too, if you clean that mud, put it back out into the world, basically, where it belongs, the house will hold cleanliness. Someone or somebody or a group of people must have impressed upon you their idea of what they think your house should contain. It's your house. That's not their purview. They don't even know you. Because if they truly knew you, they'd know that there's nothing about you to dismiss, discredit, or invalidate, and everything about you to love, to uplift, and celebrate. Thank you for your patience, everyone. I know I asked a question of the day at the same time, but I saw that that question was sent just before I revealed the question of the day. Dear Strawberry Chica. It's beautiful, dear Riri. Yeah. The wonderful thing about the Divine Mother is that her love is unlimited, meaning she's equally motherly as she is sisterly and daughterly. She is everything, all at the same time. Yes, I've been enjoying our chess game, dear Stephen J. Smith. Now, back to some answers to our question of the day. Lucas, you share about accepting the good and the bad that come with a situation. That's a wonderful answer. Thank you for that. Devin, you add taking the good with the bad. That's funny, dear Anna Banana. Dancing Roar Borealis, you share, for example, it means let's stop talking about extremes. Let's meet in the middle. I like that. Balance is the extreme dissociation of time and being. That's very profound, dear Stephen. I like that. Don Suela, you share, allowing things to be as they are, and just doing the next right thing, whatever that may be. That's very beautiful. August, you share, finding the terms the two parties can agree or coexist with. Yeah, common ground. Lucas, do I think multidimensional has any application to our observable reality? Absolutely. If we go by the mathematical definition, it can be a phase space, which you might learn in physics, which is not a physical space in the spatial sense. It's a space of possibilities in more abstract senses. And there are so many dimensions like that in our life. Yes, we have 3 spatial dimensions. We have a temporal dimension and maybe more. But we also have more dimensions than that. We have a chromatic dimension for 3 different channels in our eyes. We have a dimension of pitch, a dimension of volume in our ears. We have a dimension of hot and cold in our skin, a dimension of roughness or softness, hard or light as well. We have dimensions of savory, of sweetness, of bitterness, of sourness, and umami in our tongue. And all sorts of other complicated notes in our sense of smell. These are all different dimensions of our senses, for example. And then our mind. Oh, our mind. Our mind has infinitely many dimensions. It's a Hilbert space of ideas and concepts. How wonderful is that? Talita, you share, maybe balance between our versions of good and bad. I like that. Yeah, that's a great example of balance. Thank you, Franklin, for the heart me you sent. Ksham. And dear Tattvamasi, thank you for your quintet of roses. Amritam. Hello, Tracy. And a banana you share, ensuring that you're not impeding yourself and your journey with any extremes. Well said. And you share, cutting out the negativity of your life. That can be one aspect of balancing. And then the other part to balance that would be filling your life with positivity. That's a good reference to Eckhart Tolle, dear Ono. He explores this, the balance of being. I like that. Stevie G, you share, when it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just right. The Goldilocks zone. Yeah, goodbye, dear Lucas. Dalita, you share, like when something quote-unquote bad happens, knowing something quote-unquote good can happen. Great example, Dalita. Strawberry Chica, thank you very much for such an insightful question. Devin, you share, it's possibly similar to the story of the farmer, stating, we'll see. Yes, that's a very great reference too. Dear Alamiasa, you ask if I need gift support. Oh, well, I'm so blessed with all the gifts I already have. But if you want to extend your love to some people here who are struggling, perhaps, that would be a wonderful thing to do. Tom, you share, recently you've been thinking about how it's just about being, allowing the good and the bad to be. That's very true. I see that. I'm happy to hear that, Chikachula. In your house, you live to overcome hatred and maliciousness. Those are absolutely opportunities for love and selflessness. Starberry Chica, you share, you think finding the balance means finding where you are most comfortable in a situation. That is so poignant. I love that. Thank you. Yeah. Where do we play chess together, shares Michelle. You only have a computer to play against. That's all you need. You can play chess online. There's great websites like lichess.org. That's lichess.org. There's also chess.com, but chess.com is free, but it has a lot of paid things too. Lichess is completely free. That's beautiful, dear Chikachula. Through reincarnation, we continue to become divine in the flesh. Ishananda, you believe finding balance is achieving all that we need to be happy. Nothing more, nothing less. That is a great balance to find. Yeah. You're going to go exercise some other dimensions. I love that, Lucas. Bubbles, you share equanimity in the experience, not grasping the highs nor pushing away the lows. Beautiful. Yeah. Well said. Raven, you share it's important to heal to a point where we aren't over-criticizing ourselves when we lose balance. That's such a lovely addition, Raven. Yeah. Having balance about what we do when we go off balance. Neither just giving up, nor trying to punish ourselves for not being perfect. Samurai used to think balance meant weighing out the good and the bad without setting healthy boundaries. Now you feel balance is more about finding harmony within as well as externally. I love that. I see the truth in both of those things and the evolution between them. Oh, hello, dear Amber Angel Seed. Nice to have you here. You share that finding balance for you is learning the middle path. That's a good answer. Hybrid Jen, you share if you lean too much to just one side, you will tilt and fall. Right? You'll be like this. Luckily, I had some nice books to fall on, like the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, the Pocket Rumi, The Hidden Power in Humans. Dear Tatwamasi, you share balance is where reality is. Rest our excitations or depressions. Ooh, that's profound. Ishananda, you ask, how do I feel about the Eastern Orthodox concept of theosis, if I'm familiar? I think this was asked before, and I looked it up because I didn't know what it was. Let me do that again. What is not balance? That's a very balanced question to complement our question of the day. Theosis is a term used in the tradition of Orthodox theology to refer to the participation of the human person in the life of God. It is also known as deification or divinization. It means being made of God and reflects the dominant Orthodox understanding of salvation in Christ. It's a transformative process whose aim is likeness to or union with God, as taught by the Eastern Catholic Churches and the Eastern Orthodox Church. What God intended for us from the beginning, which is to be full in communion with Him, and thus lowercase g, gods. I love that. Yeah. Muse, you share. You feel it means we should listen to your body, and your body will tell you what it needs. I like that, Muse. Hello, dear Lauren. JR, you ask, am I watching White Lotus? No, is that a TV show or a movie that's come out? It's a comedy drama series on HBO. I haven't heard of it. An American dark comedy drama anthology television series. Interesting. No, I don't watch a lot of TV or movies. I watched Hachi yesterday. That was lovely. I enjoyed watching Hachi. A Dog's Tale. Good evening, Al. Hello, Sparkle Lily. Thank you, everyone, for exploring this question of the day. I think we had a lot of different perspective when answering this question today, which means we've done a good job balancing our understanding of what it means to balance. So I think our question has answered itself yet again through all of you. Thank you. And thank you, JR, for your GG. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Oh, give your subconscious a break. Let it receive some wholesome media too, dear L. We are all different, and our versions create a balance in the world. I love that, Strawberry Chica. Thank you. Bubbles, you have a book recommendation called A Psalm for the Wild Built. Wild Built? Or is it Wild Bull? It is Wild Built. I thought that was autocorrect. But no, it's called The Wild Built. I've never heard of this before. A 2021, oh, it's very recent, solar punk novella written by an American author, Becky Chambers. It's about the life of the tea monk who tells the story. And it's being upended by the arrival of a robot there to honor the old promise of checking in. That sounds like a thinker. That's right, dear Laura. If there was no difference, there would be no place for balance. Well said. As above, so below, shares Holly. As within, so without. The balance of dark and light, and the oneness of all. It's beautiful. The oneness. Good night, dear. Oh no. And thank you, doing it dog mom style, for your heartbeat. Jaya Sita Ram. No, I have not, dear Matt. But at the very least, let me look Anthony DeMello up now before I forget. I am often in such a flow state during these live streams that afterwards, if you were to ask me what happened, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But if you remind me with a message, that can be very helpful. Anthony Tony DeMello was an Indian Jesuit priest and psychotherapist, a teacher and public speaker. DeMello wrote several books on spirituality and hosted numerous spiritual retreats and conferences. He is known for his storytelling, which drew from the various mystical traditions of both East and West. It's beautiful. Sounds like he lived a very balanced life. Oh, I think I've heard of that book he wrote, Stop Fixing Yourself. Sounds like he made a big impression on you. Might need one of those AI meeting note takers. It's actually a good idea, Bubbles. Hello, dear Apex. Matt, you ask, how can one get into a sort of flow state? Be in your element. When you are free to be yourself, there's no question of what to do next. It's just a natural extension of being in this moment. That takes healing from trauma. That takes learning, relearning about your true self, and that takes practicing letting yourself come out. You are seeking being here now. Oh, perfect. You are on the right path. Ruri, you ask, what is the difference between the Divine Mother and her child? Why are they separate? They are one. But they are one in their perceived separation. They are only separate at the level of the physical. But the essence of the mother is in the child. The child is an extension of the mother, and vice versa. Oneness is always there at the level of soul and spirit, conscious awareness. It only appears in many forms to fulfill the lila of love, because love requires a subject and an object, and the subject cannot be the same as the object, so it appears in many forms, even though it all arises from the same source. Oh, thank you, dear Tom Rabone. I remember, yeah. Please share, I'd love to hear it. Yeah, you are suffering your imagination and your memory. In our imagination, we get anxious about the future. In our memory, we get depressed about the past. So, what faculty brings you to the present? If our imagination takes us forward, our memory takes us backward, what brings us here? Michelle, you ask, is there a movie that made me cry the most? For you, it was Grave of the Fireflies. I think I cried through all of the second Moana. I was like, there was a constant stream of tears during the whole of Moana 2. I really connected with the idea of bridging the gap between our ancestors and therefore all peoples, because all peoples descend from a common ancestor. Or common ancestors, plural. But perhaps I'll have to add Grave of the Fireflies to my list. Hello, someone with a Cyrillic username, which is beautiful. Dear Lena. I like that, Matt. It can be said that we are not two, but we are not one. I like that. We are none. Yeah, my shirt is being blue screened, blending into the universe. Thank you. Hello, Heliosphere. Sattva, that is balance. Yes. You like when flowers have babies, shares Hybrid Jen. More and more and more and more start growing around. Isn't that so nice? I like that. Neti. Yeah. Fun fact about the word neti in Sanskrit. It's the combination of na, not, and iti, meaning this. And the sandhi of the a and the I become a, neti, from na iti. And I think it's funny how, on one hand, the search for yourself is the neti search, that you are not this, not this. However, in an entirely equal sense, it's all this. So you can just say, iti, this. Sarva kalvidam brahma. All this is Brahman. Just depends if you're looking at it from this point of view of Nirguna or Saguna. Thank you. Oh, I already thanked you, JR, for that GG. My eyes just went back to it. My gratitude still remains. Thank you. We can only describe what God is not. At the same time, all descriptions are part and parcel of that infinite source. The beautiful paradox of it all. Oh, that movie cultivates empathy. I like that, Michelle. Damrabone, you were trying to see from within. You were able, but it was hard to maintain. It kept coming and going. Well, that makes sense. You can't expect to hit a home run on your first bat. It takes practice. You're doing well. Good night, dear Strawberry Chica. Hello, dear Denise. You thought the experience of even learning this is so, so beautiful. That's the ticket. Yeah. When you find beauty in exactly where you are at this moment, you are truly meditating. Talita, you shared, it started to rain, and then a few comments later you share, rain has stopped. That was a quick rain. That was just a... Okay, I'm done. It's a little tinkle winkle. Yes, well said, dear Matt. God is everything, but not any one thing. That's good. Alright. Well, I'm grateful for the diversity in the world, dear Tom Rabone. But I hope to reflect the possibilities that exist within us all. Thank you, dear Orla. Goodbye. The rain was so heavy, but so brief. That can be like the dark night of our soul. You know? Ultimately, at some level, we can choose. Do you want to go through it slowly? Where you just get a little bit of rain, but it lasts for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Or do you want a lot of rain, but it's just a few seconds? It's your choice. Are you the type of person that likes to slowly peel the band-aid off? Or do you want to rip it off? Equally valid options, and there's a whole spectrum in between. You want to flood, Hybrid Gen. Wow. There was a story of a man who trekked up into the Himalayas, and he posed this to a being known as Babaji. And Babaji gave him a choice, that either he could be done with his karmas now, or he could go and find some other teacher that would take them through their karmas slowly. The man said, no, I want you to be my teacher. I don't want any other teacher. Babaji said, well, I don't think you're cut out for that kind of thing. You really sure? The man said, yes, positive, 100%. Babaji said, no, sorry, I just can't accept you as my student. This man was so distraught because trekking up to this level of the Himalayas was no easy task. He was so depraved that he jumped off the cliff. He fell 200 feet. He died. That's when Babaji brought him back to life, set him back up on the cliff edge, and said, "Alright, you are now done with your karmas. I will accept you as my student." Don't try this at home. Maybe you can try it in the presence of Babaji in the Himalayas. Definitely not at home. Thank you, Hybrid Jen, for your trio of roses. And tiny, tiny. Yippee. Dear Stephen J. Smith, you share you like graham crackers and cranberry juice. Me too. In fact, that would slap so hard right now. I could eat that. Babaji has a high standard for his students. Yeah. You can only be Babaji's student when you no longer need to be a student. Yes, I still would love to travel the world, dear Bobby, so... The J is for jungle. Stephen Jungle Smith. Jongle. Stephen Jongle Smith. That's funny. Hello, dear Kristen. You had a good day, and you just meditated all day, listening to relaxing music. That's so beautiful. I love that. I'm happy to hear that. Heliosphere, you share your dark night of the soul is 30 years. Well, let's pray that it's just 30. No more. Good evening, Arthur. You can only be Babaji's student when you become Babaji. Something like that. Yes. I wrote a story one time called Anew I Began. I had a similar theme to it. Perhaps I'll share it one time. You like that story, Riri? You like the method of quick and over with more. Somehow I don't doubt that. Alright, it's time for another episode of Ruminations. I made it this time. Woo! Let's continue where we left off. Yippee! This poem is called Become More by Dying. O my noble friends, slaughter this cow if you wish to raise up the spirit of insight. I died to being mineral and was transformed. I died to vegetable growth and attained to the state of animals. I died from animality and became Adam. Why then should I fear when I have become less by dying? Next I shall die to being a human being, so that I may soar and lift up my head among the angels. Yet I must escape even from that angelic state. Everything is perishing except his face. Once again I shall be sacrificed, dying to the angelic. I shall become that which could never be imagined. I shall become non-existent. Non-existent sings its clear melody. Truly, unto him shall we return. For your information, there were 2 surahs from the Quran in that poem, cleverly worked into the poetry. There was Surah Al-Qasas, known as the story, 2888. Everything is perishing except his face. And Surah Fusilat, clearly spelt out, 41:21. Truly unto him shall we return. This poem is called The Lawsuit. This is very fitting because Rumi was a lawyer by trade. That was his day job. So he should know a great deal about these. I am amazed at the seeker of purity, who, when it's time to be polished, complains of rough handling. Love is like a lawsuit. To suffer harsh treatment is the evidence. When you have no evidence, the lawsuit is lost. Don't grieve when the judge demands your evidence. Kiss the snake so that you may gain the treasure. That harshness isn't towards you, O son, but towards the harmful qualities within you. When someone beats a rug, the blows are not against the rug, but against the dust in it. The poor dust. This poem is called The Bloom. That which God said to the rose, and caused it to laugh in full-blown beauty, he said to my heart, and made it 100 times more beautiful. And one more poem for the road. The Godly Art. Everyone baked by the divine sun will become rock solid. Without dread or shame, their features fiery and veil-rending like the face of the peerless sun. Every prophet was hard-faced in this world, and beat single-handed against the army of kings, and did not turn their face from fear or pain, but single and alone dashed against a whole world. The stone is hard-faced and bold-eyed, unafraid of the bricks thrown by the world, for the bricks were made strong in the kiln, but the rock was hardened by a godly art. Thank you for listening. Those were the 4 poems that we have read for this episode of Ruminations. If it sparked any insights, curiosities, or comments, you're welcome to share them. You're very welcome, dear Denise. Is metal in the microwave? Because you shouldn't do that. Oh, no, Mercury in the retrograde? Because you've been so emotional today. I don't know, I'll check my kitchen later. Yeah, both Rhiannon and Bubbles said, I liked that one at the same time, in exactly the same spelling. You connected. Hello, dear Jay. Did you know that the type of metal you wear can offset astrological influences? There are many ways to become independent to your astrology, which is something you might be interested in. A whole aspect of what's called Vedic astrology, the most ancient form, is becoming transcendent which means that the motions of the planets no longer affect you. And the idea is to become in such a way that your life is solely determined by you. And I think that's a wonderful idea, because it's not that you're a slave to the planets or moon and sun, but you can cultivate a transcendent free will. And one way of doing that physically, before you get to that state where you can do it spontaneously, is by wearing precious metals. Why did ancient people love jewelry? Well, it wasn't just because, ooh, gold, silver, copper, shiny. It was because it was associated, each element, with one of the astrological influences. And so if you saw someone wearing a lot of gold or silver or copper and whatnot and different gems, they were someone who had cultivated a sense of free will. Nowadays it's all commodified and whatnot, and everything's so ridiculously expensive, and you don't need to be spending all this money. There's other means. But if you are blessed with the opportunity to wear jewelry, wear jewelry. Jewelry is said to be astrologically helpful in helping you be transcendent. They say when you harness your power, you forsake luck, because then you make your own. A beautiful saying. Dear Babaji. Yeah. If you get a bangle, you've heard of bangles, common in India. It's said that a bangle made of a pure metal has to be completely pure. If it's pure, especially if it has jewels in it, just that bangle alone is enough to become transcendent to your star sign. Copper is very good as well, especially because it's the most accessible out of copper, silver, and gold. There's some spiritual materialism for you. Well said, dear Riri. The planets are less a master and more an inspiration, which is why the Western doesn't include that part. Yeah. You've got the same copper vessel, dear Bubbles. You're telling me your cooties are in this? You got the same one, it's got your cooties. Bubbles. Just kidding, it's not carbonated. Now, I'd like to end with a meditation. So if you're interested in having a meditation as we end the Saṅgha, you're welcome to stick around. Some of you may remember that in previous meditations, we explored a sacred text known as the Kamika Agama. And the second chapter, the Mantrodhara Patala of the Purva Panda, the first part of such a scripture, there was the meaning of every bija given, every sound in Sanskrit. This can be used to cultivate mantras. There is a wonderful document that I made to put all of it in a nice table. I can show that to you on screen. Make it nice and big for you, just to refresh your memory perhaps. We've done a couple of them, pretty much randomly so far, based on what I was feeling for that day. But I think it would be a nice thing to, over the next few weeks, go through each one of them. And this could be a nice way to learn some of the sounds of Sanskrit too. I think we've done A, which is dedicated to all deities. We've done A, dedicated to Parashakti. We've done E, dedicated to Vishnu. E, dedicated to Maya Shakti. We've done U, dedicated to household deities. So the next on our list, which we haven't done, is U, dedicated to Bhumi Devata, the earth goddess. It is said that the sound itself is Shyama, bluish black, and it has the power to enchant the world, known as Loka Vashikarana in Sanskrit. So with this knowledge, I have cultivated a mantra for today, using that bija and the fact that it's associated with Bhumi, the earth goddess. I've also included another bija, one that is associated with Bhumi in a different way, and that's Bhuhu. There are many ways of using this knowledge to cultivate sounds, sacred sounds. The simplest is just to add an anuswara, which turns it into a subject. Om, where we realize in this case that we are part of the earth, we are part of Bhumi. A more elaborate way is found in Bhuhu, which is a more ancient bija, found for example in the Gayatri mantra. It has a visarga at the end, symbolized by the H with a dot under it in the International Alphabet of Sanskrit transliteration. And just like in the Gayatri mantra, you won't actually hear the mini exhale. Oh, I misspelled the word exhale. Exhale. Sorry. Because there's an interesting feature where before a voiced sound, it can turn into a r. So it will actually sound more like bhur than bhuh. Altogether, the mantra is Om Bhur Bhumyai Namah, which is a series of 3 bijas, followed by the phrase salutations to Bhumi, to the earth as a goddess. I've added a couple more pronunciation pointers. For example, all of the vowels in this mantra are long. O, U, I. Except for the As and Namaha. I completely forgot about that. Sorry about that. All the vowels are long except for Namaha. And at the end of Namaha, you will hear that Visarga being like a mini exhale. Also the H in Bhu and Bhumyai. It is no mere silent letter, but adds an aspirated quality to the B sound. B, B. And of course the M with the dot under it at the end of Ong and Om. There's a pure tone resonance in the nasal cavity. Very sacred sound. So may this be a mantra that connects us with Mother Earth. If you'd be interested in connecting to that principle, I'd be very happy to include you for 108 repetitions, which I will count out on a part of Mother Earth, which is the Rudraksha seeds. Good reference, dear G. Yes. Bhumi, the Earth King in Avatar: The Last Airbender, was indeed named after this Sanskrit word. Bhurbhumyai Namah. 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 Bhurbhumyai Bhurbhumyai Namah. 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 Om 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 Bhurbhumyai In the human body, the earth principle is said to be located in our Muladhara, our foundation of our being. The plexus at the very bottom of our spine. There it takes the form of yet another sound in its bija. And 4 other sub-mantras. Vam, Sham, Sham, Sam. We'll do 3 rounds of the main mantra and the sub-mantras to conclude our meditation, to connect with that element within us, within our body. Ram, Vam, Shang, Shang, Sam. Ram, Vam, Shang, Shang, Sam. Lam, Vam, Shang, Shang, Sam. Those 4 sub-mantras associated with the 4 petals of the Muladhara correspond to 4 symbols of the compass, representing how our earth expands in all 4 directions: east, west, north, and south. May our roots extend in all directions too. Salutations to Mother Earth. That concludes our meditation for today and our Saṅgha. Thank you all for being here. We've come to the end. But it's just a new beginning for the next part of your day. Oh my goodness. Thank you for those who sent a gift whilst we meditated. Thank you, dear Kathleen, for your 6 roses. Om Sadhyoja Tam Prapadyami Sadhyojataya Vai Namo Namah. Bhave Bhave Nati Bhave Bhavaswamam Bhavodbhavaya Namah. Actually, you sent 7. Thank you, Kathleen, for the septet. Rhiannon Clark, thank you for your heart meme. Om Vamadevaya Namo Jyeshtaya Namah Shreshtaya Namo Rudraya Namah Kalaya Namah Kalevekaranaya Namo Balaya Namo Balevekaranaya Namo Balapramatanaya Namah Sarva Bhuta Damanaya Namo Manonmanaya Namah. And dear Anthony, thank you for sending it. Tiny Tiny, yippee! As well as a rose, a heart me, a GG, a TikTok, a rose, a Rosa, another Tiny Tiny, yahoo! A finger heart, 16 GGs, a TikTok, an ice cream cone, a rose, an ice cream cone, quintet of team bracelets, a rose, a pair of roses, another rose, 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 and another 23 roses, and another Tiny Tiny. Yippee! Beautiful. Thank you. I hope you have some money for yourself too, dear Anthony, since I know there are challenging times upon many of us. But thank you, nonetheless. Dear Andrea, thank you for your heart being. Aghorebhyo ta ghorebhyo aghore tarebhyam sarvatash sarvasarvebhyo namaste rudra rupebhyam. Thank you, dear Oren, for your team bracelet. Tatpurushaya vidmahe mahadevaya dhimahi tanno rudra prachodayat. Yandira, thank you for your heart me, ice cream cone and rose. Ishan sarva vidyanam Ishwar sarva bhutanam Brahma Dipati Brahmano Dipatir Brahma Shivo Me Astu Sa Eva Sada Shiva Om. Hello, dear Katrina. Yes, happy to have you here. Peace be upon you. The mystery of divine knowledge. I'm sure our paths will cross again, dear Androm. Thank you for being a part of this intersection. You felt the vibration of that sound in our mantra today. I'm so happy to hear that, dear Denise. Mantras are so wonderful. I love them. Yeah. Good practice to roll the R, yes, dear Jay. Matt, you share, before we go, part of your dream from last night / this morning was someone with these symbols on strings. What are their meaning or purpose? They have a lot. They go by so many different names. The first paragraph of the Wikipedia article is just denoting all the various names that they go by in the various languages in and around Asia, but primarily the Indian subcontinent. They are primarily a devotional instrument. If there was a common ground between all of the cultural uses of these, they tend to be used a little bit more ceremoniously than purely entertainingly. It's said that the ring from these symbols kind of sounds like an om, just a really high pitch om. Yeah, these versions in particular, I believe, are called Manjira. And I found it next to a book in a thrift store. And the book was dedicated to the teachings of Krishna, and many devotees of Krishna use Manjira to add to their praise and their kirtana when chanting the divine names of the names of the divine. Yeah, they're made of some kind of brass, some copper alloy. Am I a Pisces? Asks Nora. I'm a little bit of everything all of the time, as the great Bo Burnham once said. Yes. Oh, I drink from copper. Yes, that is true, dear man. This is pure copper. All right. I wish you all well. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you to my lovely moderators for helping keep the peace. And to everyone, if there's anything I can do to make this space more inclusive to you or anyone, let me know. I hope to be a more humble host next time. Hold me accountable to that. I'm counting on you. Counting on you to hold me accountable. May this be an offering to the divinity within you, this live stream. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to the light, from death to deathlessness. Om, may there be peace in us, may there be peace in our environment, and may there be peace in the forces that act on us. Did I forget my invocation at the beginning of this live stream again? I can't remember if I did. I think I might have forgotten. I'll do it at the very end as well, why not? May this be a time-traveling invocation that travels back to the beginning of this live stream to bless it. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tedasvinavadhi Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May the divine nourish us both together. May the divine protect us both together. May our studies be vigorous and effective, and may we not mutually dispute or hate any. Oh, may there be peace in us. May there be peace in our environment. May there be peace in the forces that act on us. May we end with the beginning and begin with the end. Thank you, dear Hybrid Jen, for your rose. Om Bhairava Rudraya Maharudraya Kala Rudraya Kalpanta Rudraya Vira Rudraya Rudra Rudraya Ghora Rudraya Aghora Rudraya Martanda Rudraya Anda Rudraya Brahmanda Rudraya Chanda Rudraya Prachanda Rudraya Tanda Rudraya Shura Rudraya Vira Rudraya Bhava Rudraya Bhima Rudraya Atala Rudraya Vitala Rudraya Sutala Rudraya Mahatala Rudraya Rasatala Rudraya Talitala Rudraya Patala Rudraya Namo Namaha. May you all have a wonderful rest of your present moment.